Looks like we have a quorum. I see at least 5 members here. I'm looking to see Stewart's here, so that's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 7. Okay, great. So, Fred, will you call the roll?
All right. Mr. Foster,
Here.
Chief Hill,
Here.
Mr. Cronteras,
Here.
Mr. Riddle,
Here.
Mr. Roberts,
Here.
Miss Andrus,
Here.
Mr. Wilson,
Here.
Mr. Woods.
And it looks like Mark is in the waiting room. Or no, he clicked the wrong link, I think.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me email him. Thanks, everyone. If we'll just be patient for another minute or two, let Mr. Woods join.
Here he comes.
There you go. Hey, Mark.
Hey man, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, buddy. I don't know what happened. I was.
I copied a bad link the other day when I sent out a reminder, and then yeah, no worries. Thanks for we figured it out though. So
Yeah.
okay, Fred called the roll. Obviously, Mr. Woods is present. Fred, if you'll just mark that.
Right.
Minutes from the last meeting. I looked at these briefly. The only comment on these, Fred, I've got is there a way to make sure that we attach the audio recording to the minutes in case there's ever a question about what's been stated as far as the level of detail?
You know, I'll have to get with Brian and see how that
Okay.
would happen, but if we can, we will. Sure. We can
Okay.
do that.
That would be my only comment about that. Not that they were incorrect. It's just the level of detail from the last discussion. And then moving forward also, since we have audio recordings, making sure they're archived with the minutes in case there's ever a question.
Okay.
Did anyone have any other comments related to the minutes?
That was my only other comment.
Okay. Did anyone have any edits for Fred related to the minutes, or is there a motion regarding the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept them.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Woods and a second from John Cronteras related to the minutes.
All right.
I guess we'll just do a voice vote on this. Any
Acclamation.
opposed? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right, ayes have it. Motion passes, minutes accepted. Communications from the chairman, I have none. Other than I did speak with Mr. Riddle about, again, reconstituting the subcommittee. So for those that are interested in the planning book subcommittee, please send me an email and appoint a subcommittee lead and get that reconstituted as it relates to questions about the zoning book. Again, cleaning up existing issues as far as language, text changes, etc. Communications from the vice chairman, Mr. Woods.
I don't have any tonight.
Great. And then there are no announcement or commission activities other than there will not be obviously a subcommittee meeting this month as we have not reconstituted it yet. First case up then under new business, as there is no old business, is PC case RS 20-12-01. The applicant is Roger V. Joyner from Sane and Associates. Mr. Joyner, you also have item number 2, PC case FP 20-12-02. As these two cases are related to the same property address, if you would like to present them back to back, that is fine with me. Or we can split, or we can continue them as two separate items.
Yes, and this is actually Matt Lackey. Roger Joyner was unable to attend. I'm one of his project managers, so I'll be sitting in for him.
Okay.
And whatever your preference is, I'm fine either way.
Okay. Both cases will be voted on separately. It's just the presentation of the case. So why don't we just keep them separate since you're new tonight, and that way we'll just focus on one and then the other. So if you would, Matt, please state your name and address for the record. Again, I'm going to give a quick rundown of how this goes for folks that don't normally join the Planning Commission meetings. The applicants will present their case. They'll state their name and address for the record. We will then open it up to the public for brief questions and comments. I would ask that the public keep their questions and comments to 2 minutes. We have other folks that want to ask their questions. And then also we have other applicants tonight that we need to get to. And just to be respectful of one another's time, I would appreciate everyone keeping their questions, comments to 2 minutes. So with that said, new business item number 1, Mr. Lackey, do you want to state your case? This is for RS 20-1201. The request is for a resurvey of 2701 18th Street South.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys for having us here tonight. As you just said, this is for a re-subdivision. We're looking to subdivide 5 existing subdivision lots into 2 lots. That's located at 18th Street South, between 27th, or it's at 27th Avenue South, between 18th Street South and 18th Place South, and goes south to a public alleyway there. And it's a pretty simple design as far as what the property lines, how they're being reconfigured. And be glad to answer any questions anyone has.
And just to clarify, you're not subdividing, you were actually resurveying and combining 5 lots into 2 lots.
That is correct. It is a re-subdivision of an existing subdivision.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. If there's anyone from the public that has a question about the resurvey of 2701 18th Street South from 5 lots into 2 lots, please use the chat feature and or raise your hand in the Zoom for those of you that are familiar with that.
Scott Bryant.
Okay, we have a question from Scott Bryant. Mr. Bryant, if you would state your name and address for the record.
Scott M. Bryant, 1830 29th Avenue South, number 440, Birmingham, or Homewood, Alabama, 35209.
Okay. And what is your question or comment?
So I'd like to use my 2 minutes for y'all to answer the official protest about this ordinance and change that was presented yesterday in letter form to the secretary and to the clerk's office.
Okay. All right, and we'll answer all questions after we've collected them all, and I'll make sure to go through that for you, Mr. Bryant, point by point.
Well, then I'll use my 2 minutes then. So end of the day, the process by which this has gone through and the fact that this is a development of a shopping center requires it be C4. It's currently zoned C4A. The subdivision combination of this development has not gone through the processes. Where's the traffic study? There are several processes this has not gone through, and importantly, it's currently zoned C4A, which does not allow for a shopping center. They are building one structure with 2 tenants that qualifies for a shopping center. The development plan, there's no parking for this plan. The 2 restaurants will require 105 spaces in addition to the Edgar's that was not supposed to be there because it's supposed to be a spa. No food allowed there. Those 3 restaurants, 171 parking spaces, and there's been no traffic study and sufficiently underparked and exasperating the problem that exists with the hotel being approved, not acknowledging the meeting room space.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Bryant?
Please comment. And we've responded repeatedly in letter form, meetings with the city, pointing these issues out, and have had no response.
Mr. Bryant, who are those letters addressed to?
The entire city council, the planning commission, city attorney, city clerk's office has gotten all these. And we attached a letter to what we sent yesterday to the secretary. I sent it on the email form with a hand-delivered copy at 3 o'clock to the planning commission secretary at the planning commission office, and at 2:58 to the city clerk's office yesterday afternoon with receipts.
Okay.
We also are questioning whether the notices were received within the allotted time period, because for this meeting's agenda of notice, doesn't appear the noticing procedure was followed.
All right. Okay. All right. That is your 2 minutes, Mr. Bryant. We'll go through your questions. Are there anyone else from the public that has a question or comment related to the first case 2012-01? Okay. I don't see anyone with any other questions. Brian, I don't see anything in the chat, just to make sure.
Yeah, I don't even.
Okay. All right, with that, we'll close the portion for this case, RS. This is the resurvey of 2012-01. To address Mr. Bryant's comments, yes, the staff did forward your letter to the Planning Commission yesterday, so we did receive it. I received a response today from Ms. Smith related to the letter and your questions that was also answered, I think, with input from Mr. Kendrick. Is that correct, Ms. Smith?
Vicky had a medical situation this afternoon.
Okay.
She's not feeling well, so
Got
we're going to try to do the best we can.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Well, then she sent me a quick summary of the response, I guess, from the BEZ and the city attorney related to the letter we received on Monday, Mr. Bryant. So to answer your first question related to the property zoning, the property is zoned for the use, and the city does not interpret this to be a shopping center. The public notice generally gives a plan and was attached as a courtesy. The new 8,800 square foot building will house restaurants regarding Little Donkey and the barbecue place, to be specific. This is regarding the resurvey, though, of that property and whether or not the subdivision or the combination of 5 lots into 2 lots meets the minimum requirements for the current zone of C4A. So for this particular case, I just want to keep that in mind, that this resurvey is, does the taking of 5 lots and putting them together in 2 lot meet the city's definition and requirement for the size of lots in C4A? And I don't know if Mr. Pugh wants to speak to number 1 or any comment on that, but looking at the resurvey, the dimensions of the lots, they do meet C4A requirements.
Yes,
So
that's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Related to item number 2, the city attorney and the BE staff disagree with the statement provided. And that would be something you would need to take up with Mr. Kendrick and Mr. Pugh and his staff. Regarding the fire and engineering signatures, no building permit has been issued, as I think no actual final development plan has been submitted. And so therefore, there hasn't been a fire or engineering review, as this is again tonight, just for the resurvey and then the plat finalization of the 5 lots and the 2 lots. And I'll let Mr. Hill and Mr. Pugh comment if they have anything additional related to that.
No, you described that accurately. The plans are still under review. The building permit's not been issued yet. A land disturbance permit has been issued for the site work, but that's different than a building permit. We're still waiting on some documentation and a few revisions.
Okay. Related to items 4 and 5, as it had to do, I think specifically with the parking for the potential of the new commercial development of 2 restaurants as outlined, I think in the online packet that showed the Little Donkey and then the barbecue restaurants. So in C4A specifically footnoted, I think on page 98 of the zoning book, a street level single story C4A lots does not require and is exempt from off-street parking requirements as outlined currently in our zoning book. If you're considering the 18th Street South moving forward, it's similar to that was the original intent of continuing C4A up, which these 5 lots currently are, and are essentially being resurveyed into 2 larger C4A lots. So for 4 and 5, related to your questions on parking, C4A at a single story street level does not require off-street parking. I don't know if Mr. Pugh or Fred wants to comment any further on that.
No, you captured it.
Okay. Related to question 6, this was, I think, to the rear, what will be the rear lot, which is going to be used for parking for the hotel. The lot itself is 41 spaces, and then there are additional 20 or so spaces around the lot that are going to be, I guess, utilized by the hotel, which adds up to the 61 spaces. I'm not sure. Other than to say that, that's the way the count came in from the staff. Mr. Pugh, any comments on it?
I'd be more than happy to take that up and explain that. If someone wants to come by the office, we can take a look at it, but I don't know what that has to do with the lot line issue at hand.
Question 7 is related to the final development plan of the hotel and related to the Wolf Camera building as a retail spa, specifically stating the building was limited to non-food and beverage uses. Again, according from the city, no one associated with the development. I guess the city reached out to them, had any information regarding this statement. Also, there is no information available or on file regarding a board placing a restriction on the use of the lot, and it was also not proffered by the owner. And that if there is information related to that, the city would appreciate receiving that. I don't know, Mr.
You will.
Comment. Okay. Again, back to the parking. Again, this relates back to the C4A, which I commented on earlier, being a single story street level, does not require additional parking. And then again, because I think this is just a resurvey this evening as well as a plat review, because there's actually not been a final submission for construction plans, there is not a traffic study.
Mr. Chairman, can I just correct you on that statement? The reason and purpose per the agenda, final plat associated with the resurvey of parcels.
Just to clarify, Mr. Bryant, we're talking about the resurvey item 1 here, and you're talking about item 2, I know. But just to clarify, for this case, this is the resurvey only.
I understand. So that's number 2.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And if you go read the definition of a shopping center
Mm-hmm.
under the zoning ordinance, it's 2 or more buildings having a retail establishment in one build, 2 or more occupants in one building. That is the definition of a shopping center. A shopping center is not allowed in C4A.
Right. Just as a point of clarification on that, the back end of the definition also states it also includes an integrated parking lot or parking area for that structure. This, and again, without having a final plan in front of us to review, there's not anything for us to talk about related to that. If at the time this is submitted for review by BEZ, they have an integrated parking lot, that would be something for them to consider at that time. But right now, that is not.
I understand. One more technicality. 2701 18th Street is not an address for this property. So
I'm going to defer that to Mr.
just
Pugh
an FYI.
overall. Yeah, no, I appreciate the comment on that about the property address.
The address that was stated here was determined by our GIS staff, Hannah Smith, based on and working with the county to designate a particular address for this site. And that is the address that the county.
You need to find out if that address is within the 18th Street ordinance that you're referring to as 24C, 24A.
The address is for addressing purposes. As I say, under our GIS system, we have to assign an address to something. You're creating this new lot. So that was the address that the GIS, in coordination with the Jefferson County, assigned to it.
Right. But that address doesn't fall within that district, just FYI.
It does now.
All right.
Well,
Okay.
the 18th Street,
Um,
not an
right.
18th Street.
Okay, just as a, moving along, I think I addressed all 9 items per the letter on Monday, with the document I received from Ms. Smith this afternoon. Are there any questions from commission members related to the resurvey under case RS 20-12-01?
I have none.
I will ask a question just to confirm, Mr. Pugh and Fred, related to the size of the lots meeting the requirements outlined in our zoning book for C4A.
Yes, yes, they do.
Okay. All right. Are there any additional questions from commission members on the case here?
No, I guess I'll just make a statement, Jeff, that, I mean, I want to make sure we understand that, I mean, obviously this is something they can ask for. They own the property. They want to rezone it from 5 to 2. If we're assuming what we know is going to go on that property and we don't have a final developmental plan, if we move these from 5 to 2, and then what comes to us as a final development plan cannot be put there, we've taken these 5 lots and made them 2, and it is what it is, correct?
That is correct.
Putting the cart before the horse, in my opinion.
Any other questions from commission members related to RS 20-12-01?
Mr. Foster, it's Brady Wilson. I'd just like to make a comment with respect to Mr. Bryant's concerns, that I feel like I can confidently say that all the members of the Planning Commission are keenly aware of parking issues downtown, and we're trying to follow protocol under your leadership. And so I appreciate Mr. Bryant, but I also appreciate you managing the commission.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
If I can make a statement,
Sure.
to Wood's comment. I think the reason it has to be cleaned up is in order to build across you can't build across property line. So that's the reason they're doing this first, and then will come before us, I'm assuming, with their plans later. That's all.
Okay. Any additional comments? Or do we have a motion related to RS 20-12-01?
Move to approve.
Okay, we have a
RS
motion.
20-12-01.
To approve RS 20-12-01. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion, a second from Mr. Brady Wilson. Fred, will you call the roll?
All right. Chief Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Cronteras,
Abstain.
Mr. Riddle,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Andrus,
Yes.
Surprise.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Woods,
Yes.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
Right.
So the request to resurvey the 5 lots to 2 lots has passed. All right, item number 2, PC case FP 20-12-02. The applicant again is Mr. Lackey. This regards again for the property address 2701 18th Street South. The request here is for a final plat of the recently or the proposed resurveyed lots to facilitate future development. Mr. Lackey, would you like to present your case to the commission?
Yeah, and I want to apologize ahead of time. I had only received a letter regarding this plat. So I'm not 100% sure what that is in regards to. If there's any clarification you could give me for that, I would greatly appreciate it. I am familiar with all the projects we have going out here.
Yeah, it's the same. So we had to vote on the resurvey first. That's what I was asking earlier. And then this is a request for a final plat.
Final approval, perfect. Yep. Aside from what I said earlier, I mean, there's really nothing to add. I appreciate the understanding of this is really from a survey perspective. We are just looking to move property lines. And that's really what our purpose is here.
Okay.
And so again, any questions to that, I appreciate your understanding for that. And any questions for that, I'll be glad to answer anything you got.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to open up FP 20-12-02 to the public. If there are any questions, comments about this, essentially the final plat of the proposed resurvey that the commission just voted on. Seeing anything? Okay. All right. Not seeing any hands go up or questions in the chat. We'll close the public portion of this related to 20-12-02. Are there any questions from board members about this case?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is John Crontiers. I have a question
Okay.
on the explanation of the purpose and the reason. It reads to permit the development of a new restaurant. You know, that's not a new restaurant. There's 2 restaurants. So what are we supposed to do about that?
So again, related to this, without having this is a proposal. So again, the resurvey and the final plat of the resurvey, once we have a actual application from the property owner, that then we'll review whether it's 2 restaurants, 1 restaurant, etc. I don't know if,
yes, Mr. Chairman, but we know there are 2 restaurants. So why the request indicates 1 restaurant?
yeah, I didn't put great question, John. I'm going to defer to Fred or White. It may be as simple as a typo, or it may have been, just a mistake on just typing it up, or plans may have changed. I don't know. That said, without a final development plan related to the property, I guess anything could change between now and then. That said, to Mr. Woods' point earlier about the resurvey going from 5 lots to 2 lots, it's going to have to fit the lots, whatever's done. I don't know if
So
Wyatt.
is there one restaurant or two restaurants?
I can't answer that without having an actual
I mean,
final.
how can we vote on this if it says one restaurant?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Well,
that,
The-
yeah, go ahead, Wyatt.
Yeah, the documents that we provided to the planning commission indicate there would be two restaurants in a single building, a single facility. You've got illustrations included in your packet that clearly show the Little Donkey and the barbecue restaurant. They would all be enclosed in a single restaurant facility or single building, if you will. But it's clear from the documents that that's the intent.
Are the restaurants owned by the same people or there is two owners?
You know, I don't know about that. I think, you know, the land is, I don't know for a fact. I
but
think there
I
is a
guess-
relationship between the two organizations, yes.
Yeah, I think just to clarify the point on the plat though, and Wyatt, correct me if I'm wrong, the plat is really just to delineate the property lines
That's
that are
correct.
established from the resurvey.
That's
So-
correct.
Thank
That
you.
would be that'd be the only point on that is the plat just essentially, I guess affirms or confirms the boundaries of the properties from the resurvey.
That's exactly right. That's exactly.
Well,
what we-
you know,
The way it's
Mr.
written.
Chairman, the reason why I keep asking the question is it possible that making it one restaurant is better than having it restaurants? My question.
Sorry, John, you cut out about,
Yeah, I said, does it make it easier to get approval if it's one restaurant instead of being two restaurants? Is that maybe the,
so
is
I
that
I guess,
maybe,
right, so
is
again,
is
though,
that maybe the
however
reason
however
why?
large the structure is fine. If you're specifically inquiring about the two structures under a single building, again, under C4A, at street level,
Not permitted.
that's in parking, that's not a, there's no off-site requirement for that. And then, given that we don't have
No,
a
I'm not-
final development
I'm not
plan, whether or not,
Yeah, I'm not questioning, about any kind of, restrictions on two
Mhm.
restaurants versus one restaurant. But my question is, and I still cannot get a real answer, is if restaurants who some is one restaurant? That's my question.
you cut out again on my end, John, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, what I said, Mr. Chairman, is if we're talking about the restaurant,
Mhm.
why is one restaurant makes it easier to approve? And that's the reason why it is that way? Or is it a type or what is I mean, nobody's answering me the question about why is there one restaurant? I mean,
So
there is a building there, there is a drawing in color that indicates two restaurants, the barbecue place and next door, the Little Donkey.
Okay.
So,
So, given the information in the packet, John, I would work on the, mhm. Yeah, if we're going to use the information provided in the packet, which is from the applicant themselves, or himself or herself, I guess, it is two restaurants in a single structure. And so again, related to the final plat, just defining the boundaries of the property line, I think you should consider the single structure, the whether it's one restaurant or two restaurants, I guess does not affect the boundaries of the property line.
John, I think what you should look at is that it's 8,800 square feet. That's really
Right.
more important, whether it's two or one. And I'm gonna hear you as are they trying to get one approved? It's easier to get two. None of that really matters because this is a plot survey. will an 8,800 square foot building fit on this plot survey is really what the bigger concern should be.
And I think included in your package under exhibit number 1 clearly shows the single structure labeled restaurant, even though your color illustrations will indicate that the plan is to develop it into 2 separate ones, but it's all within the single restaurant structure. So that's exhibit 1 in your handout.
If I may add to that, the way I read the 4CA is that as long as they can be contiguous and be 2 different restaurants there.
Yeah, I think the reason they have them called restaurants is because we all know who owns these, and they both own this concept or is partner in one and owns the other concept. So they probably just considered if they're 2 concepts owned by the same company.
Could be.
Right.
Can I-
And again, I just want to reinforce something just related to the final plat. This is for the boundaries of the resurveyed lots that will help dictate right-of-way easements and the setbacks that any structure or structures built will fit on. And that's the purpose of this, as I understand it.
Can I make
And I'm sorry, Mr. Bryant, public portion is closed. I'm happy to, someone would like to make a motion to reopen, but otherwise public portion is closed for right now.
So you ready?
So related to the final plat, are there other questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone on the commission that would like to make a motion related to the final plat for FP 2012-02?
So move.
Hey, let me ask a question first. Hold on,
Okay.
Jeff. So, and as I looked through this, I wanted to make sure I understood it. So we've got of the 2 lots, we've got the 8,800 square foot building on one lot, and then we have the parking lot on the other lot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, again,
That is the overflow for the hotel. I love that. And it's going to also house some of the parking for these restaurants. Is that correct?
that we do not know. Now, the parking
Such a joke.
as outlined in the application is strictly for the hotel. It is not for any potential structure that would be on the, what I guess would be the west side of this property.
So I'm trying to find in our packet what an 8,800 square foot restaurant or restaurants
so
would require for parking.
In C4A, if it is a street level structure being a single story, there is no off-street parking requirement. As defined in our zoning book.
They better think long and hard when they bring this back.
Chairman, I must correct you that what you're voting on says to permit the development of a new restaurant. It says that in what y'all are voting on, unless that is.
Mr. Bryan, I appreciate your point, Mr. Bryan. I do. Public portion's closed. And again, I take your point, but we're talking about the boundary lines of the lot.
I'm talking about what your agenda says, sir. With all due respect, what you are voting on says that the reason and purpose. If that sentence is not removed, you are permitting that development.
Right, again, the lot is zone C4A. We're voting on the final plat. And the structure that goes there must fit within the lot lines, the setbacks for the lot. Whatever the lot is.
That's acceptable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, can you repeat what you just said? I've lost a little bit of a signal.
So whatever is built on either lot, whatever it is, has to fit in the setbacks and the lot lines for that lot. It can't go over or vice versa. It's got to meet the property boundaries and our setbacks as defined by our zoning book.
Hey, Jeff, I think your microphone's been taken over by the Stranger Things movie. It's messed up. You sound possessed. So I don't know that it's working.
Sorry. Let me turn my video off here. That may help the audio. Ron, let me know if my audio gets any better.
Yeah, I was gonna say, turn your audio off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, turn
I
your
think
video off.
that
Is
fixed
that
it.
better?
No, it didn't seem to fix it.
What he was saying though, and I think I caught most of it, is that we're deciding, making sure that the 8,800 square foot building that they are saying in this plot, that it's going to be the final plot as a restaurant, and it fits within the boundaries of this resurveyed land.
That's correct. Here must fit.
Jeff, you must have a sore throat.
Mr. Woods,
So-
can you take over
Yeah.
if Mr. Foster's audio is?
Yeah, I'll take over. So basically, it's back to where we were. We have a motion to accept this. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Will you call the roll, please?
All right. Chief Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Cronteras,
Yeah, Mr. Chairman or Mr. Vice Chairman, I'd like to make a couple comments before I cast my vote. And personally, I feel very strongly that the rest of the commission should have the same questions as the ones that I'm getting ready to tell you. There are too many unknowns about this project, too many confusing things, a host, and I want to underline a host of debatable questions, and the debatable questions that favor the developer. And as a result of that, my vote is to abstain, and specifically, I want to make it part of the record as to what is the reason, and why the explanation of the agenda indicates one restaurant and not two restaurants, and whether there is a reason that it can be approved easier if it's one restaurant versus two restaurants. So my vote again is to abstain. Thank you.
Mr. Cronteras, it will be noted. Thank you for your comments.
okay.
Next,
All right, continuing, Mr. Riddle,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Ms. Andrus,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
I'll make one comment before I give my vote. I agree that this is, what we're voting on here is strictly something that we have to vote on because it is in restrictions of what they're asking, and it has been asked properly, and it does match what we have in our code to put in there. So with that, I will vote yes, but I can promise it will be a very, very difficult pass when they bring this back unless they think through many things that we're already struggling with in downtown, but they have a vote for yes, just simply because it meets the code of what needs to be done.
All right, thank you. And lastly, Mr. Foster.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes,
Everyone? All right.
Bueller.
Yes, the FP 2012-02, the final plat of the previously voted on resurvey, I believe passed if I could understand everyone's vote.
It did, Jeff.
Okay.
It was all yes
All right.
with one abstention. Right.
Thank you very much. Moving on, we're going to move to case. And I'm hoping that it is RS 20-12-04.
That's correct.
No,
Perfect.
no,
This
no,
is
no,
the applicant.
Mr. Foster.
Yeah.
The agenda has item number 3, which is the rezoning of 260 Oxmoor Road. As we've indicated for you, that has been carried over at the request of the applicant until the January 5th, 2021 meeting. But notices went out to adjacent property owners and the property was posted. So therefore, a formal statement needs to be made by you as chairman that this hearing on this case is being carried over to the January 5th, 2021 meeting so that any interested citizens who may be listening tonight will know.
Sure.
And so we don't have to re-notify. So if you could
Yep.
formally make that
Yeah,
statement.
Yeah, thanks, Fred. I'm sorry I dropped my agenda. Yeah, just exactly what Mr. Goodwin just said. PC case RZ 2012-03, the applicant Chester Payne, Massey, Stotzer, Nichols, for Mr. Mike Patel for 260 Oxmoor Road to rezone from GERD to C5 General Business District. The applicant requested, after the agenda was set, to carry this over till January 5th, 2021. That is the first meeting of the Planning Commission in the month of January. And we will consider the case then, unless the applicant again withdraws or carries over. So anyone that joined this evening, the applicant Chester Payne, Massey, Stotzer, Nichols, representing Mac Patel, has carried over RZ 20-12-03 to January 5th, 2021. Okay, moving on. Next case is the resurvey for 20-12-04. The applicant is Stephen H. Gilbert for 116 Oxmoor Road. Mr. Gilbert, are you here? Mr. Gilbert.
Unmute yourself, Mr. Gilbert.
Oh,
There
okay.
you are. Yep.
Now do we hear you? Yes, I'm Stephen Gilbert of 5160 Scenic View Drive, Birmingham, 35210, a surveyor for the project. There is a house sitting on the lot designated as 11A, and it's sitting on 3 parcels now, and they wanted to combine those together. But they also purchased the property shown as Lot 2, and which included the triangle sliver shaped piece of property on the west side of Lot 11A. So they're just trying to combine to erase the lot lines for a Lot 11A and leave Lot 2 undeveloped.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Gilbert. Are there any questions from anyone on the public related to this case, RS 20-12-04? Please use the chat room or raise your hand if you're familiar with that Zoom. Okay. There being none, we'll open this up to the public for any questions of the applicant, Mr. Gilbert, related again to the resurvey here being proposed. So Mr. Gilbert, just to confirm, the lot 11 and 12 will now be a single lot for NPD?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Okay. And there is no rezone being requested for any of this. This is simply a resurvey.
At this time, yes.
Yep. Okay. Are there any questions from the commission members related to this resurvey? So again, this will maintain the larger portion at R7, which is on, again, adjoins Oxmoor Road, and then the Lot 2, I guess it is the south, will maintain NPD.
That's correct.
Okay. Any questions from commission members related to this case? Okay, I don't see any. There being none, Mr. Goodwin, will you call the roll?
We need a motion and second.
I'll move to approve. I'll move to approve. Sorry.
All right, Ms. Andrews voted to approve.
I second.
Second, James? Okay.
Mr. Riddle, aye. All right. Chief Hill,
Yes.
Mr. Cronteras, Mr. Cronteras?
Yes.
Mr. Riddle?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Andress?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mr. Foster?
Yes. Your request for the survey passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. This is new item number 5 on the agenda. It's the 4th case tonight, TX 20-12-06. The applicant is Richard Carnaggio for Derek Walchik. The property address is 709 Oak Grove Road. The request is a text amendment to the zoning ordinance. Is Mr. Carnaggio?
I am.
Okay,
Hello?
would you please present your case to the commission?
Yes, basically it's a renovation to the Oak Grove Shopping Center across from Patriot Park. We had originally proposed a mural on the sidewall as well as some signage for Ash Restaurant, which we learned in a presentation a couple months ago that signage type was not allowed in the West Homewood ordinance. That's why we're here. If we can't have the sign, we can't have the sign. I think the most pressing issue at the moment is the mural. We have been through this process for many, many months, knowing that we're, pushing a few buttons as far as the West Homewood ordinance goes on the signage. The mural, however, from what I understood Mike Kendrick to say that there was no restrictions against it and we didn't even need to present it. Is what I recalled from one of our original meetings. And there are other murals, in the neighborhood. I don't know if they're exactly in the West Homewood district or not. And then I received information this morning that it was supposed to be tabled until the January meeting. And as Wyatt can testify, we have been going through this process for a while, and the owner is getting fairly impatient or frustrated, I should say. So I was hoping that we can make some progress tonight, if not everything, at least approving the mural and postponing the signage. I don't personally think Ash has any problem with the following, so everybody knows where they are. So that's my case.
Mr. Foster, just for the information, I spoke with Vicki Smith this afternoon before she took ill, and I don't believe she's had a chance to join us yet, or if she does, she may want to interject at this point. But in speaking with her this afternoon, she had some concerns that the Planning Commission didn't have enough information to make a decision tonight. It was her intent to provide some additional information in terms of what is currently allowed in the West Homewood in terms of the signage, and also to speak to what is being proposed in terms of the mural and the sign on the roof. But in speaking with her tonight, it was going to be her recommendation and that this particular case be delayed, and I apologize to the applicant and owner, be delayed until the January meeting to allow her to get that information and provide it to the Planning Commission for additional input to help you in your deliberations. So again, that was her wish and to convey that to you tonight. So.
Okay.
Hello, this is Richard again. I really need, if it's possible, to have more information for me to provide to the owner of the property, because we had submitted information months ago. I asked if any additional information was needed, and I was told no, that all of that would be forwarded to the members. And that was well over a month ago.
Hey, Jeff, as a point of reference, the one thing I did hear the applicant ask for is the mural, and understanding the West Homewood area pretty well, it's where I reside. And of course, Mr. Kendrick made the point also, there is no requirement. There is nothing against a mural. We have one in the West Homewood district, less than a block away from where this location is going. And I don't see that we hold up the business owner, especially for this mural. Now, I think we can take some more time to look at the signage, because I think the signage affects just more than one area and more than one building, and it will. But I think the mural, I think we should go ahead and allow them to go ahead and proceed forward with that.
Mr. Chairman,
So,
this is
yeah, go
Sherry.
right ahead.
This
Yeah.
is Sherry Williams. I've been speaking with Vicky about the mural. Staff has been working on some design guidelines for the mural. And if Planning Commission would like to approve the addition of a mural contingent on those guidelines, then that would be a recommendation that I think the staff could make. But we are concerned about just a blanket approval of a mural without any sort of guidelines or that would, you know, about the size or the materials or whatever. The way the sign or the sign portion of the West Homewood District is written, it says that you can specifically have a, you know, a certain list of signs.
Right.
Murals are not included and neither are roof signs. And it says that any additional signage types have to be approved by Planning Commission. Since they are not listed, then you have to add them to the list. But we would ask that you make the approval of them. And then of course it would go to the text amendment to the West Homewood District would then have to go to City Council for approval. So if you could even just approve it with the contingency, approve the sign type with the contingency that the design review guidelines would be part of City Council's, part of the City Council review.
Sherry, with all due respect, let me ask you a question. Was this brought up when the other mural was painted on the other building in West Homewood?
I don't know. I don't know about that other mural in West Homewood.
It did not come.
Just a quick,
It did not.
just a quick comment. Wait
a second. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold up 1 second. Jennifer, so you said it did not come up. Is that correct?
It did not. And I wanted to mention our discussion about this particular mural, if that's okay, just to, because this was, Mr. Cornejo, you came to council like a couple months ago. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
And it's a beautiful piece of art, and I see Mr. Fitzwater on the call, so I don't know if he'll be the artist, but you know, big fan. The point that was made that night, and I think I love public art, I love murals, I'm all in favor. I think the point that was made by Patrick at the time was we were concerned that it was considered a sign because it said Westwood, and that was the actual name of the development. Is that right? And so we were saying, could you, if you just said West Homewood loves you or what have you, then we wouldn't need to approve it, I think is what we discussed.
Right, and that is not the name of the development.
Oh, okay.
What it's trying to do and what is happening is the West Homewood is being abbreviated,
Gotcha.
you know, culturally as Westwood. And so the whole idea behind that wall is to make sort of a selfie, trendy piece of art so that it helps the families and everyone, you know, just identify with the bright and upcoming neighborhood.
That
It
was
does not identify the.
We thought the name, I think Patrick had thought the name of the development was Westwood rather. And we just wanted to make sure it wasn't a sign for a business. That's all that
No,
was.
it is not. And it was a miscommunication that I had at the time. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't clarified, but it is the Shops at Oak Grove is the name of the business that I clarified with the owner. So I had the title on the sheets. It all looked that way, but that was my ignorance to what the owner was saying.
Okay. All right, we're going to open the public up. I just want to open the public up so we can get through that and we come back for any questions from the commission. Just stay on agenda timeline here. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak for or against this case?
I'd like to.
Okay, Miss Beverly LaBeouf.
Yes.
Miss LaBeouf, I think you know the drill with your name and address, but if you would, please state it.
Beverly Bryce LaBeouf, 617 Edgemoor Drive, Homewood 35209. and I hold the Ward 2 seat on Board of Zoning Adjustments. I would like to ask Mr. Carnaggio if he's polled the neighborhood to see if they would like to be called Westwood.
Yeah.
I think there's some underlying chatter in the neighborhood that may not be what some people would like, and we have not been asked for our opinion.
Okay. All right. Before you address the question, Mr. Carnaggio, you'll be given an opportunity. We're running on, we got a little off track here, so I want to get back and let other members of the public have an opportunity to ask some questions. Again, keep your questions to 2 minutes. So, Ms. LaBeouf, we have your question related to the text of the signage, and Mr. Carnaggio can address that shortly. Are there any other questions from members of the public? Okay, we're going to close the public portion. Mr. Carnaggio, do you want to address Ms. LaBeouf's question related to, have you asked or inquired with the neighborhood? I don't know if there's a neighborhood association and or polled the West Homewood area related to what the mural would say and gotten feedback from them.
I have not.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there questions from board members for Mr. Carnaggio related to the application tonight? And just as a point of clarification for me, Mr. Carnaggio, you're fine carrying over the rooftop sign portion, but you want a decision on the mural tonight?
I would like some direction that I could provide the owner so that he can have some closure on the project. It's going into this, it's all been positive. Mrs. LaBeouf's comments were the first negative ones that I have heard. So, there is, a concern that is there. And if there is a neighborhood association, I would gladly welcome their input. Everything that we were doing is trying to be, just a part of increasing the vibrancy of the neighborhood. So if there is any negative connotations, I'd be happy to hear those. But, to me, it is just a positive statement on a growing community, and it's not. Yes.
Mr. Carnaggio, I, with all due respect, I appreciate what you're trying to do in the area. And as a resident of here for about this area for 20 years, resident of Homewood for 50, that side of that building used to have a mural years ago of Christmas. It had Christmas ornaments and all kinds of stuff. It was a Christmas shop for a while. So that building has had a mural on that side in the past. Okay. I can tell you, and Beverly's comments, and I'm not going to necessarily speak for Beverly, but I know where she's coming from, were not necessarily negative. The idea of a mural on that wall would be well accepted by the West Homewood area. But to assume that Westwood is what we want to be called, I can assure you from being a part of the West Homewood Neighborhood Association, a former president of the West Homewood Neighborhood Association, and knowing this area, Westwood is nowhere close to what they want as a name. And you would get a lot of pushback. But what you would get by reaching out to the West Homewood Neighborhood Association is a lot of helpful input from much discussion in this area of what they want to call the area. And there has been quite a bit of discussion around that. You can follow a lot of it on the West Homewood Neighborhood Association webpage, Facebook page, and you can see there's been a lot of discussion. So as far as a mural is concerned, I think that'd be great. I think before we can say, yes, go ahead and paint that mural, you need to find out from the West Homewood Association and the neighborhood what they really would want to be called. I think it's a great idea to do the selfie with the love. I think that's outstanding. But Westwood is, I'm sorry, but you're way off base as far as what they would like. Now, the idea and everything you're doing is outstanding, and I applaud it. And I am grateful for it, and I will pass it every day coming home from work. So I am very thankful that you're wanting to do this. But I would highly recommend that you seek out the input from the West Homewood Neighborhood Association and some of there's a homeowners association in that area also that would give you some input. You've got council members from that area that would give you a great input to very capable council members who know the area well. I would point more towards Andrew because he has lived in the area longer, but both council members are very capable and can give you good input. So I would highly recommend you do that. Then and to bring back something to the owners, I know Lynn very well. We want it done, so you can tell them that area would want this done, but I think you just need to get more input from the community before you put up something that broad right there on that stop sign.
Yeah.
Well, I
and
appreciate
just
that, and I understand because again, I am a messenger in this instance, and I completely understand where you're coming from.
And
So
we're
thank
not
you.
trying to kill the messenger. We don't want to kill the messenger. And I'm a big
No,
fan of
I'm-
your artist. I'm a huge fan of your artist that's on here. He'll do an outstanding job. I'm excited about it. Let's just make sure you get the community behind you because look, we all know in Homewood, we had the messiest election we've ever had. So people can get very hyped up about certain things. And this would be one that would bring a lot of excitement, if you will, for the area. So let's make sure we just get their input.
I understand. Thank you.
If I might add one additional thing to that, it would I would prefer to see what they did their final decision was prior to it being painted. If we could get that before we voted on it, would actually be something that I would add.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing I'd like to just harken back to is Sherry's comments earlier related to the standards. I totally agree with Mark. I think that would be a wonderful addition and provide. I mean, there's a lot of energy over in West Homewood right now in the community. I just want to make sure we understand what's going to be there and what can't be there, I guess is the other thing too. And then also, as it relates to a text change to our zoning book, from a process standpoint, just so you're aware, we would need to get the language correct, whether it's just adding the word mural or not. I'm not sure I'm 100% comfortable with. That would then go to council for review. And then because it is an actual change to the zoning book, this isn't just simply, adding mural. This is a process thing again that to go through. So I just want to make sure that you and the property owner understand this would not be resolved, tonight. And I would encourage you to perhaps consider letting the language from the zoning administrator be presented to the commission for consideration.
Well, thank you. I will convey all of that back.
Okay.
And I will be more than glad to help you in any way I can to get you in touch with the right people here in this area to get some more information. So please let me know if you need any of my help. I'll be more than glad to do whatever I can.
That is greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah.
Till then, Mark Woods. Till then, I said hello.
Yeah. I'd also
Will
point
do.
out Crystal Duff is very also well known in West Homewood, so she may be for anyone that Mark doesn't know, Beverly probably knows them. So
Beverly knows more
and then
than I
also
do.
obviously the two council members, Andrew and Carlos, will be a big help. So, Mr. Canaggio, I guess the question for you right now is, would you like to carry over this case?
Yes, I would, until I can have a conversation with Derek. Yes.
All right. So, is there? We have for case TX 20-12-06, we have a request from the applicant to carry over the case to January 5th. Is that correct, Mr. Canaggio?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any, we'll do a voice vote on this. Is there any opposition to carrying the case over? Because I'm not clear on carrying it over if we need to vote on that. Just cover our bases.
I'm not sure you actually need a vote, but
I didn't
it
think
would be a
so, but-
consensus type of vote. I don't think you need a formal motion. Since the applicant's agreeable.
I didn't see anything here in my rule book. Okay.
We could just do a voice if you want.
Yeah, let's just do a voice vote to cover the bases. All in favor of carrying over TX 20-12-06?
Aye.
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 All right, ayes have it. Thank you
Even
very
the
much.
artist said I.
Jeff, Jeff, I apologize if I spoke out of order when I was addressing.
No, it was fine. No. There's no apologies necessary. I appreciate your input on that, by the way. It was good to know what's going on over there.
Well, like I said, I think the colors are gorgeous, and I'm a huge fan of ash and love me some wood, so it's all good.
Oh no, I think everyone on here that's eating at ash is a fan of it, so I don't think there's any downside to that. So, yeah. So we'll see you on January 5th, Mr. Canaggio.
Thank you so much.
All
I
right,
just tried to
thank you,
join the West Homewood Neighborhood Association, so hopefully they'll let me in.
Again, reach out to me if I can help you in any way, Mr. Canaggio.
I will. Thank
Hey,
you so much.
Jennifer,
Same here.
did you all approve the one on in Edgewood?
No, it didn't come to us.
What?
It does not, a mural does not have to come before us anymore as part of the sign ordinance. I know West Home was different, but as far as the rest of the city,
Yeah, I know that. But the one in Edgewood, it was not approved by anyone?
No, it didn't come before anybody. It just
Okay.
appeared.
All right, that's good.
Well,
I
not
won't
really.
do that, I promise.
That's kind of scary.
I like it. I think it looks great.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments from commission members? I think we lost Stuart.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Stuart. There you are. Any other questions or comments related to tonight's case? Again, just a reminder, if you're interested in the Planning Commission subcommittee, please send me an email. Mr. Riddle and I would like to reconstitute that. It relates to things like the zoning book and text changes such as this that we would like to review and vet with a small group before coming to the commission and then on to the council. Again, this will be another opportunity for things like this to be considered in advance. And then it would also give the commission members the ability to engage the public, get some input as well. So if there are no further questions or comments, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, Mr.
Too
Goodwin,
late,
we've got a
John.
motion from James and then Mark first, and then John,
Everybody
Um,
wants to go.
that's right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? There being none, meeting adjourned.
Good night, guys.
All right, everybody.
Aye,
See y'all.
bye.